That opening was from my room, beautiful view that I had. I'll put a link to the room below. I was in a place called Stonington, Maine, and I just had this huge picture window, and it's really started to kind of slow down the pace of my New England section here of travel. I had just arrived in the evening, shot a bunch of photos down by the harbor, and had an amazing sunset, had a really good dinner, and I explored the area, took a few photos. Some of these are from the iPhone. I also shared a few on the last episode. You might notice if you've been following this journey, I've been kind of slowing down the pace lately. Whether that's good or bad, it just feels natural right now. Not only from where I am right now, present day, but I think the way I felt when I was traveling. Kind of sensing that in some of these clips as I'm reviewing them and putting them into a timeline, and again, trying to craft a story after the fact. The last couple of videos I've been opening up with a couple of sentences, somewhat poetic in nature, but they kind of set the tone for what I'm about to share, or maybe how I feel going into the edit. And this episode was no different. I was inspired to create this tone or this message by coming across a channel. It's a channel called, what's it called again? It's called Mike at Old Man Living. No, it's not. It's called Old Man Living Better. The guy's name's Mike. And he has a saying at the beginning. It's like, it's pretty basic, but it's profound. It's like, if you ain't dead, you ain't done. It kind of resonates with me a lot lately because, the older I get, the more I realize I have less runway in front of me. And am I like on the fringe edge of this young group of kids that are YouTubing out there? Are there many people my age doing this? And who are they trying to connect with? Who am I trying to connect with? Quite simply, it's a documentary of my journey. But I am hoping it turns into something more, and I hope to connect with other people and tell their stories. And that's really what I hope the future of this is going to be, quite simply. But anyway, I reached out to Mike on a couple of his videos, and I'd left a couple messages, and he asked me who my audience was. I thought about that for a bit, and I didn't have an answer. I didn't have a really good answer because I don't know who my audience is. I mean, I know who I think it is or should be. Before I started this thing, I had on my whiteboard in my room that I looked at all the time, where I had all my states that I was crossing off and planning. The target audience that I wanted to really talk to, I think, was over 50 travelers, perhaps second act, midlifers like me, creative independence. Basically all the above, seeking purpose, adventure, and connection. That's simply what I thought my audience was going to be. I don't really know who it is because I don't have enough data to know. And I don't have enough interaction on this channel. I mean, I have some views here and there, but I don't know if people are watching it and clicking off and doing their own thing. I don't know if these videos are too long, but they feel right to me. And the length and the pace, and I hope the message would feel right to who I think I'm talking to. I hope. I don't know. That being said, I'm trying not to do as many jump cuts, editing out my, brain farts here, my ums, my uhs, trying to keep the pace going. I'm trying not to be too fast. I'm not Grace Helbig. I'm not Casey Neistat. I'm not any of these people that I followed and looked up to and learned from. I'm a little bit more like Old Man Mike. By the way, he's 81 years old and cranking out some amazing YouTube videos and content and storytelling. I will do a link to his channel below. He's certainly worth checking out if you are like me, perhaps, like I said, a midlifer, a creative independent, an over 50 traveler, and perhaps somebody seeking, more than anything, connection.
Coffee with a view. So I'm presently enjoying my view here, filming a bunch of time lapses. Trying to figure out what this guy's doing. Coast of Maine, little town called Stonington. Of course, if you've been following this journey so far, you know that. Pretty low tide. Been watching the boats coming in and out. There's a guy, I don't know, I guess he's cleaning out the boat or something, but he's been going in circles out there for the last, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. It's kind of bizarre. Beautiful clouds this morning. Check it out. About an hour ago, there was absolutely no clouds in the sky. I don't know where that came from. I guess overhead behind me, but this is the view right here. I've got no complaints. You know, your first thought might be, well, actually, your first thought's like, why is this guy recording this with his hair like this? But you're probably wondering, you know, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is like $1 million view. I can't believe how much he's spending on his lodging. This room was not that much money. In fact, this room was probably less than any of the rooms that I paid for in Connecticut or Rhode Island. Certainly less than anything I'm finding in Vermont. I'm telling you, I've been searching for lodging for, I think it's this weekend. Anyway, I'm going to New Hampshire for 2 days and then I'm going to Vermont. And I don't know if it's just the timing with the leaves or what, but a quick search in Montpelier, I think it's pronounced. It's probably not. In Stowe and those areas of Vermont, $495 and up. I found rooms for $1,200 a night, $3,000 a night. It's like, what? I don't know what's going on. So I think I may be able to find something on Airbnb, but then again, you got to watch the fees and all that. So that's going to be my quest this morning, I think. You know, when I first got here, my first inclination was to make sure to get down to that harbor first thing, because I wanted to try to capture some of the activity down there. But how often do you get a view like this? I'm just really enjoying my coffee and enjoying this view, because this is, you know, checkout's at 10. I'm not going to be here that long, so I don't know. I may still get down there. Who knows? I'd have to do something with the hair, though. Yeah, good morning. Good morning from Stonington, Maine. I've really been enjoying this morning. I think more than any other morning. I knew I would. I mean, I don't know how good the clips are that I'm capturing, but I'm capturing it up here, I think, more than anything. I was just journaling this morning and kind of feeling guilty, for this moment. I'm not sure why. It's a moment of peace, and it's a moment of gratefulness for sure. I was thinking about the word chaos. In fact, I think it was one of the worst first words I used in here. There's a lot going on right now. We're about just over 30 days to the election. That's going to bring about its own chaos, for lack of a better word. The Hurricane Helene, which recently ripped through Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, North Carolina, Virginia, South Carolina. From what I've seen in North Carolina, it's really hard to process. And then the ports being shut down, which was following that story for a couple of weeks now. And then it finally went into effect October 1st. There's already people hoarding things, and I don't know. I feel like I know all that's going on. The only reason I know half that's going on is because of this. None of that's happening right in front of me right here. Now, of course, this beautiful, serene scene could be chaotic in the middle of winter during a storm, of course. I'm just grateful that I have this peace right now. I can't help but feel, again, a little guilty. I'm like, what am I doing here? My talent could be utilized somewhere else. And it might be. This might be the calm before a deep involvement in that. I'm not sure. Because I was going to go to North Carolina in 2 weeks. And why shouldn't I go there still to help out? I just got to deal with the cat. I got to find a place for the cat. Or figure that out. I'm not sure. But I'm going to enjoy this right now because it's all I can control is this. I can't really control that, actually. Big wave could come in and ruin this whole scene for me. Knock all the cameras over. There's this fine line. There's this embracing the beauty and being appreciative of all this, and at the same time, again, wondering what the hell I'm doing here when my talents and my ability could be utilized somewhere else to help others. So that's where my head's at right now. Figured I'd share it. Until then, we got a few more days up here in New England. And today we're driving to New Hampshire, and hopefully going to capture some fall color. But till then, I'm going to keep enjoying the view. I don't think anything I could possibly dream of saying right now is going to hold a candle to what's going on out here. This beautiful morning that's unfolding before me. Coffee in hand. I've got the window open. I can hear the fishermen out there. I can smell the salty sea air. The low tide. Can't touch it. Can't taste it. But yeah, I've been capturing time lapses all morning and taking some stills, just reflection shots and admiring the light. Just watching the day begin, watching the fishermen go out on their boats and being grateful, I think, more than anything.
I started out this particular season with the intention of filming the stories of others. And what I think I've really sunk to is just, I don't know, selfishly telling the story of me. It's not what I intended to do. It's not what I set out to do. I mean, my mind is over there interviewing a lobster boat captain. But here I am in my nightshirt, sipping down a fourth cup of coffee. Well, not really fourth. Again, just passing the time. I am more relaxed now than I've been in years. I mean, I know before you know it, I'm going to be in the car driving 4.5 hours to frantically capture some fall color. But yeah, right now, I think my blood pressure has dropped down to I don't know. I'm at peace right now, I really am. But again, I realize I'm not doing what I intended to do. I guess that's okay. It is what it is. This one thing I've noticed, man, I just 4 seconds ago, I took all the cameras away because I'm like, oh, the clouds are gone. And I look out there now and the entire sky is full of clouds again. I mean, check this out. Time to throw a couple more cameras out there. One thing I wanted to point out, I was wondering about the tide. Boy, it came in pretty quick. Check this out. Remember when I was photographing and time-lapsing this morning? There was those little islands of green with sand all around. It's just all filled in with water now. It's a pretty big tidal change. Also, I was photographing there last night. Sunset toward that way. Which I don't know if I've shared those yet, but if not, it was like this image here. But anyway, it's tidal change, happens every 12 hours. Just it's kind of cool. I don't know if I got any of the tide coming in on time lapse or not, but anyway, sadly enough, it's time to leave this amazing view. Yeah, I'll be out of Maine shortly here, so that's it. Got to grab the bag. I think I got everything down in the car. Couple of bags here, so time to hit the road. Goodbye, view. I'm gonna miss you. Alright, let's go. Look at this building ahead here. 1897. The Stonington Public Library. Wow. Over 100 years old. So this we're heading over to the dock. I saw a lobster boat. He's been there for a while. I don't know if he's still going to be there by the time I get there. This was where I stayed, this little place to the left in on the harbor. Probably the smallest town I've stayed in since I've been here. Certainly the most coziest. I ate dinner there at that restaurant to the left we just passed. Had the best piece of haddock that I've ever had. It's like 1 inch thick. And what else? I don't know. Oh, I had a cup of clam chowder. By the way, I never used to like clam chowder. Totally digging it now. I've become a chowderhead. I just came out of this restaurant here, and I was using the restroom. And on my way out, there was a chair, and it had a jug of water. And it written with a Sharpie on the jug of water said,
this is for when the water gets shut off. Does it happen that often to where you have to have a jug of water temporarily on a stool in the bathroom? How bizarre. I see a lobster boat over there. I think I'm going to run over and I don't know if he's still going to be there when I get there, but we're going to go check it out before we leave. For those of you tuning in hoping to get some of the stories of others, apologize for my failure here. I was really hoping I was going to get something specifically here. It wasn't the reason I came here, but I thought there would be more of an opportunity for me to get some stories here. But I think that helps if you have a fixer, somebody to kind of put this together for you. I'd gladly ask questions till the cows come home. I'm very curious, but I don't know. It's hard to make that happen in a short amount of time. But anyway, just one quick last pan of the harbor. This place up here called the Opera House. First of all, I was reading there's a pamphlet that has all of the history of all these buildings down here. I think it originally was a 900-seat facility. It burnt down, and then they rebuilt it. It's like 256 people now, I think. Something like that. I find it really odd. The whole pamphlet was talking about all these buildings, and it seems like everyone has a history of it burning down at some point. This may very well be my very end post or update from Maine. I just realized that because I'm going to hit the road and head into New Hampshire next. I'll be back in Maine someday, I'm sure. I love it up here. I really do. There's so many little towns to explore, so many little coves and peninsulas, and a lot to see. I hope I got some good images. I know I've photographed up here a lot. I think I got some good ones here. We'll see. You'll notice how far the tides come in. Look at this little house up here, hiding behind the trees. Anyway, I guess that's all I got for Maine. Put some closure here to the video. On my way to New Hampshire next, gonna capture some fall color. That's all I got for now. Thanks for joining me. As always, more on all of this later.